Today is Tuesday, December 14th, approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd like to call this Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Madam Clerk, if you would take roll, please.
Commissioner Fox? Present. Commissioner Beget?
Here.
Commissioner Coonan?
Here.
Commissioner Herrick?
Here.
Commissioner Radke? Here. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Chairman Krieger?
Here. Thank you. We'll stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we ask that you grant to this Board of Commissioners and to all those in authority the patience and understanding to work together for the good of all people. In your holy name we ask this. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have two sets of minutes, so we'll take the first one, 11/9/21. What's your pleasure?
So moved.
Support. Any discussion on the minutes? That being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have the minutes from 11/30/21. What's your pleasure? Move.
Support.
Any discussion on those minutes? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now is the time for citizens' input. If there's somebody out there that would like to address the board, this would be the time to come up.
Yes. You can explain to...
Sure. If you come up to the podium and state your name and sign in also, that would be wonderful.
I went to see Dr. Vanderbilt today, so I can't see that well. I got that stuff in my eyes.
Uh-oh.
And nobody wanted to do this instead of me, so here I am. So
Well, you can
my
always
name is
put an X and somebody will verify who you are.
well, most everybody knows me. So Tom Matuszewski, live at 4008 Devonshire Drive, Bay City. And I got a long name here, so born with that.
If you need another pen with more ink in it,
Yeah, I can see that.
furnish it for you.
You know that this was dry, right? That wasn't planned, so okay.
There you go.
I'm president of Crime Stoppers of Bay County, also president of the Michigan Crime Stopper Council, and I'm here on behalf of Bay County. I'm a straggler today, by the way, so I wasn't familiar with all of what's going on with money for our county, so basically I'm here to make a plea on behalf of our program. In 1986, Crime Stoppers came to Bay County thanks to the initiative of Sandra Fallardew, attorney Mike Dwan, and police officer Terry Watson. This group immediately applied for and got our 501c3 nonprofit status, and volunteers in the community have kept the program alive since that time, with the only money to do so coming from fundraisers and donations from within the community. I've been president of our program for the last 16 years and have seen what an asset this program has been to our law enforcement. Just this past month, we approved 2 tip reward payouts of $600 and $350. Award amounts are decided on a scale provided to us by Crime Stoppers USA, which is our national headquarters. We presently have a board of directors consisting of 10 local citizens from throughout the county who work voluntarily to keep our Crime Stoppers program going. In this past year and a half, we've not been able to conduct our major fundraising projects. The Fireworks Festival closed a year ago, and we couldn't collect the stipend for covering the admission gates. We couldn't bring the Detroit Lions football players to town to play basketball fundraiser at Central High School because the schools weren't allowing guests in buildings because of COVID. The same occurred with our annual Country Western concert show, which we do at John Glenn High School. Our phone solicitations have been cut tremendously because people have eliminated their house phones, thus no longer having those contacts. And our canisters we have at local quick stops and businesses haven't brought in that much money because people are choosing to use debit and credit cards to avoid handling money. So we depend on these functions to operate our program. In addition to not being able to better promote the Crime Stoppers program in the community because of fundraising and COVID, we're also not able to bring the Student Crime Stoppers program into our local Bay County and middle and high schools, which teaches our young adults how to report crime and dangerous situations anonymously. With the recent events which have captured the news, we believe it is of the utmost importance for us to teach students of the tools available to them to report crime anonymously. We have our program, which students can use anonymously, and the OK to Say program, which is promoted by the Michigan State Police. The OK to Say program is funded by the state legislature. Our program is funded by donations. The Student Crime Stopper program allows students to report things such as potential suicides, drugs, weapons, graffiti, alcohol, bullying, etc. In those cases, we contact the principal, but if it involves drugs or weapons, we contact our local law enforcement. It's too common to hear these days that a student was afraid to tell a teacher, a counselor, a principal, or even his or her parents about something that they saw on social media that could potentially bring harm to the school or to a classmate. This past year and a half, COVID has hurt our program a lot financially. And we're looking at a request for consideration of $30,000 to $50,000, which would put our program basically back on track and allow us to move forward to better promote the Crime Stoppers program in the community and, more importantly, in the schools. Every penny that we raise stays right here in Bay County. Promoting our program in the community and teaching these school safety skills to our youth before they leave school setting as graduating seniors will give them the knowledge about how the program works as they move forward with their lives. This being probably one of the last opportunities to intentionally congregate kids to teach them these skills. There are actually still too many adults as well that do not know how our program works, other than knowing that we say we are anonymous, and here is our phone number. If you drive around Bay County, you don't see a sign that says this is where Crime Stoppers office is. Okay, you don't see that anywhere because we meet wherever we can. Our program meets at the Bay County or Saginaw Bay Yacht Club or at the, I'm drawing a blank, Coast Guard. Thank you, my wife of 47 years. She's always good for something. All right, God bless you. All right, so that's where we meet.
Be careful.
Somebody said something I missed? Okay. At any rate, we meet once a month, and all of our people are volunteer. I think I mentioned that. But people don't know that when they make that phone call to that 1-800-422-JAIL number, it goes to our answering service, by the way, which is out of state. People don't know that. They think it's probably in the back door of the police station, but it's not. It's out of state. Once it goes into that answering service, it's immediately trunked to a different answering service. That way, when it comes into that second answering service, it's all zeros. They cannot trace the call. And a lot of people are worried that when they call, oh, they're going to recognize my voice and they're going to know who I am. We're out of state. It's not going to happen. So to try and convince that, you know, a lot of people sitting behind you probably didn't know that. How many knew that? Yep, there you go. So we need to teach those skills to our people, but primarily to our students, because students are afraid. They know that hospitals are getting hacked all the time, so are businesses with their Social Security information, et cetera. Our program has been around since 1986, nationwide, even outside of the country, and we've never been hacked. So with that, I'll conclude my comments. I do have some copies of what I just said, along with a copy of our 501c3, and I'd like to give these to somebody, but I'm not sure who to.
So Tom,
Pass these down?
go ahead, Amber.
Oh, no, I just was raising my hand so I could get the documents, so I can give them to Kristen.
Okay. All right, any questions?
Well, in public input, it's basically just a one-way.
Okay.
You
I understand that.
address
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Let me just make a comment to you.
Okay.
You know, we put out lots of notices on different organizations to be able to submit claims of what they want, and there was a deadline that was set on it. So at some point, I think I will get with administration and with the rest of the commissioners to talk, and we are going to be working on a possible resolution that's a little more structured on how we want to deal with the individuals that have asked for money on the ARPA funds. So as long as you've got a name and address, and obviously if I need your phone number and it's not up there, Jim certainly does have it. So I will reach back out to you. Of course, we would all agree that what you do is very important to the community. There's no doubt about it. So thank you for the service that you provide, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Yep. Anyone else like to address the Board of Commissioners? I see someone bobbing, but that was to pick up an ink pen. So. All right, that being said, let's move into petitions and communications. There is need for a public hearing to transfer the oversight and supervision of the Community Corrections Office that was a Department of Child Care Services, and it will now be going to the county sheriff. So a motion to go out of regular order would be in order.
So moved. Support.
Discussion on it. With that being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Anyone from the public wish to discuss the transfer of the oversight of the supervision of the community? Anyone like to comment? With that being said, a motion to go back into regular order would be?
So moved. Support.
Discussion on it? That being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are back in regular session. We have a resolution 2021-191. What would be your pleasure?
I'll move the resolution.
Very good.
Support.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
would you mind if I made a few comments? I know
Not
Marie and
at
I...
all. Go for it.
Yeah. I just want to say we have a star with us today. Connor Morin distinguished
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
himself.
whoop. I'm going to hold you 1 second because I want to be able to vote on the
okay.
resolution. You're just anxious because that good-looking boy sitting back there that the mother keeps primming. All right, so we have a motion, we have support. All those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So now we can talk about Connor. You're up, mister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say my grandson Dalton was in the Business and Professional Student Association at the Intermediate School District. It was one of the best programs, and he could have made it to the nationals if he would have been in the top 3 in Michigan, but he came in 4th in the competition over in Grand Rapids. So he wasn't able to go to the nationals. He missed it by 1, but 800 students statewide participated. And we have Mr. Connor Morin from Pinconning, who has been an outstanding athlete, 4 years on the student council, outstanding athlete in soccer, bowling, and golf, and on, but he came in number 1 in cybersecurity issues in the state of Michigan. And that, I don't recall anyone from Bay County ever competing and being so successful to be the first, the best student, at least judged from that competition, in cybersecurity, something that is critical to the safety of Michigan and our nation. And maybe at some point in cybersecurity, you might think about military service or something, Connor, but I want to thank your mom for her parenting and exceptional parenting and exceptional DNA as well. And say that we're very proud of you, Connor. And I know Commissioner Fox and I have talked about this over the last couple of months, I guess, and thought that it would be appropriate to honor you here at a county board meeting. And the resolution reflects the esteem and admiration that all the people of Bay County who are represented here through the commission and myself in terms of appreciating what you've accomplished. And we expect great things from you in the future. So, Commissioner Fox, did you?
Well, let's do this first. So everything that you said, I'm going to say ditto to.
Okay.
And Commissioner Fox, if you'd like to move the resolution.
I would love to move the resolution. It would be my pleasure.
Go for it.
The Board of, do you want me to read the whole thing?
No, we'll move the resolution first.
Okay, well, I move the resolution to honor Connor Morin.
Okay, so resolution would be 2021-197.
That one, yep, that one. I'm so excited. I move resolution 2021-197, honoring Connor.
Support.
Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like Diane to read the resolution, please. Actually, Connor, why don't you come up here? And Mom and Dad, would you like to
Yeah,
come
they
up there
wanna-
with them?
Family?
Can I say something? Mr. Bartlett, I just want to correct you. He was number one in the nation.
Oh, Good.
He was number one in the nation.
Good correction. Come on this way.
Legit, you should do that. Yep. Oh,
Connor, we
okay.
might be able to use your services right here in the Bay County government, too.
Go for it.
By the Bay County Board of Commissioners, whereas with pride, the Bay County Board of Commissioners and the Bay County Executive wish to acknowledge Connor, is it Morin, as the first place winner in the America's Virtual Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics event, where he competed on a national level of business professionals of America National Leadership Conference. And whereas Connor Morin competed with approximately 700 high school and college students in cybersecurity and digital forensics, and his winning presentation was about Bluetooth security. And whereas, given the complexity of the topic, it should be noted that Connor Morin, a high school junior in the 2020-2021 school year, made his presentation virtually due to COVID restrictions. And whereas, along with a team of students, Connor Morin also competed in the Cybersecurity Patriot competition, garnering a second-place finish nationally among 7,000 participants. And whereas, Connor Morin is now a senior at Pinconning High School and also attends the Bay Arenac Intermediate Skills Center, participating in cybersecurity program. And whereas, other activities Connor Morin has been and is involved with are numerous, and including varsity soccer for 4 years, 2 years as captain, varsity bowling 4 years, varsity golf 3 years, SAE 4 years, student council 4 years, peer mentoring 2 years, robotics 3 years, and mock trial 1 year. And whereas Connor Morin is employed by Pinconning Township and is the co-owner of a computer business in Pinconning. And whereas the talent and tenacity displayed by Connor Morin is to be admired and applauded, therefore be it resolved that the Bay County Board of Commissioners and the Bay County Executive commend Connor Morin on his first place finish in the America's Virtual Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics event, and for all of his achievement, and wish him continued success in going forward in all future endeavors. Ernie Krieger, Chair and Board.
I'll let you do the presentation.
So before I give this to you, I want to say that I've spent a lot of time on the school board among many talented kids, and what you have done here is amazing. And it's so cool. I'm very curious to hear what you're going to do next year. But more importantly, we spent a lot of time last year living negative. One thing or another. I am so glad you are here to bring a little happiness to me. Congratulations.
Further education, which college, I am not completely sure yet, but I have narrowed down a few choices. We're waiting to see on the scholarship that I applied for. I'm looking to further extend my education.
Nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
So, Mom and Dad, when I look at this young man and I see skin and bone. Obviously, with everything he's involved with, he has no time to eat. Obviously, no time for young ladies. So, congratulations, we're very proud. Thank you.
Don't go yet. We're going to take a photo.
Sure, Mom and Dad.
Oh, you got to get the picture.
He wouldn't be here without me.
Mr. Ricard, I'd like to thank him. He was a big help with this. So,
They make all the difference in the world.
it's really good.
So next, under Petitions and Communications, we have Chris Pinter, Chief Executive CEO of Arenac Behavioral Health. Chris, I don't know if your hair is any longer or shorter than the last time you were here, but welcome.
My wife likes it longer.
What the wife likes, the
I
wife
don't have much
gets.
choice.
Welcome.
So I've been coming on and off to the commission the last 6 years, pretty much talking about the same thing. When Dr. Cameron was our CEO, he used to complain that he had to go talk to Mr. Redmond about more money every year, and he used to tell me about the migraines he would get. Well, I still have the migraines, but I don't have to ask for more money. I'm just asking to keep us in business. So what we've got in the information for you tonight is I want to just give an update. The Senate Bills 597 and 598 did pass out of committee in October. These are the bills that will end county mental health programs, period. They will take all the money that's invested in Michigan's 83 counties and 46 county mental health programs and hand them to the private insurance industry. So the problem with that is the fact that the problems that the counties deal with will not go away. The problems with substance abuse, addictions, mental health, those problems don't go away just because people can call Blue Cross. The county will always have a responsibility to meet the safety needs of its constituents, always. That's why there's been a county mental health program. When the sheriff has a person that's having difficulty at 3 a.m. downtown that needs a psychiatric admission, he brings them to us at McLaren. And we make sure they either have a safe location or we get them into a bed. If we're gone, the sheriff can call Blue Cross Blue Shield, probably located in Wisconsin, and they'll be told, well, get them down to Bloomfield Hills at 10 a.m. on Monday and they can have an outpatient appointment. So what does the sheriff do from 3 a.m. on Sunday morning until 10 a.m. on Monday? Put them in jail? They're full. We already got too many people in jail. We got too many people in the forensic center. Why? Because people are recovering from this 20-year opium epidemic that has destroyed our kids, destroyed people's minds, made people resort to poor choices, poor behaviors, and now they're flooding our hospitals, they're flooding our state hospitals, they're flooding our state facilities, they're flooding our treatment facilities. We need a public response to a public problem. And community mental health is part of the county's response to managing those social problems. And the reason why it works is because if Chris isn't doing a good job, every one of these people can show up at my 8 public meetings a month and say, get rid of that guy, he's doing a terrible job. And if that doesn't work, they can come over to this commission and say, get rid of that mental health program, Mr. Redmond, they're doing a terrible job. And if that doesn't work, they can vote the commission out and say, get rid of those commissioners. We need to, that's how democracy works. That's the only reason we have a robust community mental health system in Michigan that serves over 250,000 people a year. It filled a need that's been there for 58 years. It's a need that's not going to go away. The county's role in this and the accountability to the public does not go away. The money might go away, but the need and the problem doesn't. That's why it's important. So 597 and 598, these bills are opposed by MAC, they're opposed by the Sheriff's Association, they're opposed by the Probate Judges Association, they're opposed by, and in fact in your information I believe we included some examples of the entities that are opposing this. These are only supported by one group, the private health plans, because they see the money and they say, we want that money. That's all this is about. So I'm encouraging the commission, I hate to ask you to take a position on bills because you have a lot of other things you're doing. You don't need to get involved in partisan things. I totally get that. This isn't partisan. This is not a partisan bill. This is, do we have a county mental health program in Michigan's 83 counties or not? Yes or no? And I'm hoping, because you've always supported us over the years, that the answer is still yes. So if the answer is yes, you should sign on with the other counties and pass a resolution.
Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you. And Chris, now, is the governor able to veto this as well?
If it gets out of the Senate and the House, she would, yes.
And then what's the odds? What do they need, 2/3 or something like that to override or veto?
If the Democratic caucus, and this is the partisan stuff I don't want to get into, but you guys are all smart, you're all elected officials, they don't have the votes to override any of your vetoes, and the House, not now, they don't. If the Democratic caucus sticks together, they could probably get it vetoed, but you never know. It's important that for the governor and any public official to know how bad these bills will be. There's times in legislation that clearly is bad for the citizens, gets passed because everybody thinks, well, somebody will veto it or somebody else will block it, you know. That doesn't always happen in a democracy. We get bills passed all the time that a minority wants, but they've got the right influence, they've got the right positions, they've got the right resources, they get it through, even in a democracy. So I think it's important that if the counties support county mental health programs, to go on record opposing it, because at the end of the day, it's really about the county and the constituents of the county. I can retire in 3 months, okay? Our pension and stuff with the county is well-funded, so this has nothing to do with Chris. This is about the people of Bay County, and handing off this program is strong and as healthy as it is to the next generation of people who will be dealing with many of the same problems.
Go ahead, Kim.
Now, is this in a resolution form, or?
Well, it's a motion to receive his report.
Yeah. But you want us, which I support, a resolution to the rest of the counties that we are in support of the way we provide mental health care.
Absolutely.
Okay. Vaughn?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Michigan Association of Counties is opposed to it. The argument that's been used is that the system is not working the way it is now. So I guess the question would be, what is not working now, and is there another fix for it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. And what I would say is the answer to the problems is managed care. Managed care has been around for 40, 45 years. It's been the dominant delivery of health care in the United States. The U.S. spends more money per capita than any other Western nation on health care, and we tend to get the lowest outcomes. Why is that? Because we have for-profit motives, we have people don't access or invest in primary care providers, they don't invest in specialty services, there's lots of paperwork and documentation because everybody's worried about liability versus good service. And why would the United States, the greatest country in the world, come lower than Norway on health care for its citizens? I mean, honestly, now I have nothing against Norwegians or any Scandinavians, but I got a problem that we consistently are ranked the lowest compared to some of our European friends. That's not acceptable. What's been the dominant, what's the common theme since 1980 to now? Medicaid managed care, health insurance model. It's not the only model to deliver health care. They want you to think it's the only model because everybody's comfortable with it, or at least believes that's the only model. It's not the only model. You can actually do health care integrated at the ground and pay providers directly. You can invest in primary care providers. I think the biggest problem with managed care is the juice is squeezed out of that. Commissioner Baguette can attest to that. They've squeezed the juice out of providers over 40 years with managed care. You're not going to get any more return now for that. That model is an old model. What you need to do now is pay people for getting good outcomes and getting healthy people. The managed care system, the private managed care system, doesn't do that. That's why generally the public is opposed to managed care or being automatically enrolled in managed care. President Bush started the Medicare Advantage stuff, put a lot of money into that after the prescription drug program passed in 2004. They had to enhance and add more things because nobody wanted managed care. They heard Medicare Advantage plans, so managed care, I'm not signing up for managed care, they're not going to approve anything. So over time, the feds have had to, no, it's not traditional managed care that you think of. It's Medicare Advantage, and actually the ACA added things. Trump added things to the Medicare Advantage plans so that people see that they're not traditional managed care. Those are the models we need to be thinking about, not the old model. 597, 598 just hands it over to the old model and wipes the dust from the hand of the state and county partnership, which is a mistake.
Thank you.
You're all set? So we have Resolution 2021-216.
Move to receive. We already received it.
To
I
adopt.
move to support that.
Okay. Need a second?
Support.
Okay. Any other discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Chris, you need to become a little more passionate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you. Under D, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, we have an appointment finally from the governor for Renee Amok to the Bay County Department of Health and Human Services Board. Her term would expire on 10/31 of 2024. A motion to receive would be in order.
So moved.
Any discussion? Maybe at some point, we could have her come in so we can put a name and a face together, so I'll try to reach out to her and see if we could do that. That being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under E, Bay Medical Care Facility actually was awarded Best Nursing Home by the Newsweek magazine. A motion to receive would be in order.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Commissioner Johnson.
It's a great honor, especially in times such as they are. Difficult times, especially for care facilities such as that, especially when we have a lot of people, a lot of places that are dealing with short staffing, and when we're dealing with those who are the most vulnerable in our society. I know that this is a great award. The data that was collected to be able to award this was done with leadership, but also on the backs of those nurses, CNAs, who the people in housekeeping, the people in the business area who were asked to work sometimes double shifts due to short staffing, and the care of the people that they are there with every single day. They stayed, oftentimes neglecting themselves and their own families in order to do so. And I want to make sure that we understand that something like this is an amazing accomplishment. They've done a lot of great work out there with the individual people and the way that they've pitched in some really rough situations. I know, having conversations with several folks over the course of this summer and since the beginning of this past year, just how difficult things can be, and to be able to pull something like this off is a testament to all of them. It is a lot of direct work. It is a lot of direct care, and I know that the governor and the legislature has approved money, additional $2.35 for those who deliver direct care in facilities just such as this. And every single person and place and occupation within that building delivers some form of direct care at one point or another, so I certainly hope that they can all participate, as many as possible, in receiving that as well as this wonderful award.
I would say kudos to the employees. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment and acknowledgement for what they've been able to do under the conditions. Okay, anyone else? Under F, we have a request for appointment to the Veterans Affairs Committee, a motion to receive the 4 individuals up on the board. And Vaughn, if you'd come over here, because after we receive, let's go ahead and we will vote.
I'll move to receive.
Support.
Discussion?
Are we voting for 4 or so?
2.
2, okay. And just to say that.
And what I would like to...
I know there's 4, but then...
So what I would like to do is, Diane, I'll have you call on each commissioner, and each commissioner will pick 2 individuals. Okay, so we had a motion to receive, support by Tom, Mr. Herrick. All those in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? It's carried. So let's go ahead, Diane, if you'd call on the commissioners.
Commissioner Coonan,
Vaughn Begic and Troy Stewart.
Commissioner Herrick,
Vaughn Begic and Troy Stewart.
Commissioner Radke,
Vaughn Begic and Troy Stewart.
Commissioner Johnson,
Vaughn Begic and Troy Stewart.
Commissioner Fox,
Vaughn Begic and Troy Stewart.
Commissioner Begic,
Myself and Troy Stewart.
Chairman Krieger.
I'm going to go with Troy Stewart. And of course, Ron Begic.
I would point out, we have a rule that there will be one county commissioner on the board.
7 for Mr. Begic, 7 votes for Troy Stewart.
Very good. So a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support?
Any discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We also have a request for appointment to the Department of Aging Advisory Committee. A motion to receive.
So moved.
Support. All right. Okay. So the motion to receive and concur with the appointments is what we're doing. Yes, ma'am.
Robin Weiss, you did receive her application?
Yes.
Okay. Just confirming, because it's written here, is that it wasn't received, so I want to make sure we did have it. Okay.
Very good. Any other discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now move into reports and resolutions of committee. That means it's Ways and Means. And Commissioner Fox, you are up.
All right. Resolution number 2021-198, the corrections to the assessments for the Drain Commissioner. I move this resolution.
Support. Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-199, the Sheriff Road Patrol, the additional appropriation. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-200, the fiscal year 2022 Federal Visitation and Access Grant. I move this resolution. Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-201, the acceptance of the Elizabeth J. Husband Fund Grant Award. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-202, the Pinconning Park Bathhouse Project Extension. I move this resolution.
Support. Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-203, the Pinconning Park Bathhouse Project Engineering Services with Spicer Group. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-204, the 2022 remuneration, I can't even say this word, remuneration program grant.
I'm glad you had that one.
I slaughtered that.
Remonumentation.
Say it again?
Remonumentation.
Remonumentation. There. Grant, that one. I move that resolution.
Support.
All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
I
carries.
own my faults. What can I say?
We can work on syllabication another day.
2021-205, settlement documents for the global opioid litigation. I move that resolution. Support.
Discussion.
Yeah.
Mr.
I just wanted to give a little explanation, if I could, before the vote. As you know, back in 2017, through the County Executives of America, Bay County and all of you, or the incumbents at that time in 2017, supported our effort to file litigation against the big pharmaceutical companies who knowingly encouraged physicians to overprescribe opioids and told them, of course, that it wasn't that addictive and it represented no threat. Now we know we lose over 70,000 individuals a year to opioid overdoses, and it's ushered in a new era of fentanyl, which is very, very potent drug that just a few grains more than what you would get could take your life by shutting down your respiratory system. So in 2017, as we all know, we filed a public nuisance and RICO lawsuit, racketeering and organized crime. Why? Because Bay County did. We filed it in the federal court in Ohio. The reason being that Michigan basically has a law guaranteeing protection from liability for lawsuits against either manufacturers or distributors. So that's why we took that route with the Motley Rice law firm out of New York City. They're a very competent law firm that handled the tobacco litigation some years ago. So the lawsuit was then centralized, our lawsuit was centralized into the national opioid litigation. In July of 2021, there were 2 settlements reached in the national opioid litigation. The settlements were a victory for Bay County and other local governments that participated in the national litigation. The settlement calls for the opioid defendants to pay up to $26 billion in funding installments to the opioid litigation plaintiffs. The bulk of those settlement proceeds are required to be dedicated to funding opioid abatement and other preventive measures in the future. And we just heard from Chris Pinter, it still is an ongoing issue that we can help our residents in Bay County by hopefully preventing those addictions and those unnecessary deaths and all of the attendant fallout that accompanies that. Bay County's early participation in the lawsuit will likely result in an increased allocation of the settlement proceeds, and we could potentially receive up to $3 million for our opioid abatement. So I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the commissioners who were there, as well as the current commissioners, for your support on this litigation, initiating it, and it will pay dividends to our residents as we try to battle opioid addiction and the attendant crime and misery and physical agony that has done. Now, I want to say that Amber Davis Johnson, as well as I think Jan, your department in finance, helped collect some of the data that was used in our lawsuit. And Amber has probably several hundreds, if not, well, maybe 1,000 hours, maybe Amber involved in interacting with the lawyers in the law firm. And Heather, of course, there you are, Heather. Thank you for all of your diligent work and all the time that you put into the litigation. So just before the board votes, I just wanted to mention that I think we're
Thank you for sharing all
should be
that.
pleased with the outcome.
Yep, thank you. Commissioner Begay.
Yeah, just want to sort of highlight that we got in early in the process. There are some other counties that are coming in sort of now after the fact, but that helps offset some of the legal fees that we had early on. So by getting in early, we get a larger share of the money then too. So.
It was a good decision. All right. All those in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-206, the 85-15 split for healthcare for the 2022 year. I move this resolution.
Support. Commissioner Begay.
Yes.
Any comments?
Yes, we are one of the few counties that do the 85-15 split versus 80-20. I know a lot, I'm not sure what the proportion is statewide, but I think we're probably in the minority of providing more of the coverage for our people.
Very good. Thank you for being consistent as usual for 18 years. Any other discussion? If none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-207, the data sharing agreement with the Michigan Department of State. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-208, the Blue Cross Blue Shield Schedule A. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 2021-209, the General Fund Payables. I move this resolution. Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-210, Earl's Aerial Spray Services Contract for Mosquito Control. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-211, the 2022 Information Systems Budgeted Maintenance Expenses. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-212, the budget adjustments for Pinter Park and the golf course. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
2021-213, the Boys and Girls Club of Pinconning and Essexville, ARPA funding. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With no, Commissioner Herrick.
Do we have any place of money, a budget? A budget for the money? I mean, like, how is it going to be spent?
Do we have one right now?
Yeah.
Or will we provide the quarterly?
So do you know yet, or what you're doing with it, or no?
Well, I shared it with Amber.
Yes, I did receive the information that was requested. It is going to cover a portion of the additional staffing that they're going to be required to have in order to bring the wait list down to 0. So they did provide that information to me, and we'll make sure that we incorporated that in the contract. The original proposal that was submitted asked for 100% of the money to be used for additional staffing. So that's what the contract is going to reflect, and will reflect over what time they're going to spend with that money.
So this is mostly just for, I want to make sure it's just for staffing, it's not for any part of the building, or what?
We did discuss that, so we will spend it all on staffing as requested.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Redmond.
Yes, could you send a copy of that info to the Board of Commissioners?
It's not drafted yet, but as soon as it's drafted, I will be more than happy to send a copy.
Very good. Any other discussion? With that being said, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carries.
I believe I'm done.
Very good, Commissioner Fox. Let's move into Personnel and Human Services. Mr. Johnson, I think you have an easy day ahead of you.
I've got nothing.
You've got nothing.
I got nothing. Well, I could have stepped up and we could have diagrammed the word remonumentation. I don't know.
Break it down.
Just because you're a teacher.
Could you help me with sesquicentennial?
Sesquicentennial.
That one. I just say birthday party. Because I struggle with that one.
That's good too. All of our stuff was taken care of on the November 30th, I believe. So.
And you'll be busy next week.
Can't
Very
wait.
good. All right, let's move into Board of Commissioners, and that would be Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2021-214, reports of the county executive. I move this resolution.
Support.
Any discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2021-215, this is brought forward by Commissioner Begic, and I think it's a great road map, so I do support this also. This is the Support for Michigan Prosperity Roadmap Plan. I move that resolution.
Support.
Any discussion? Commissioner Begic.
There's quite a few organizations that have signed on to this, MAC included, and they voted out some supplementals, I think, today. So I don't know how much they voted out of this plan or taken away from this plan, because some of it is some of the ARPA money, but hopefully there's some left to merge with local money like roads and maybe broadband, things like that are more expensive that locals can't afford by themselves. So that's really the plan, is to blend the state and the local money for bigger projects.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other discussion? Commissioner Johnson.
Just looking it over, it was, I like the way that they kind of broke things up into percentages. Also, looking into the group, you see that you've got a variety of people that all came together to try and put this out. So you've got labor, you've got business, you've got local policy people. So a lot of people coming together with ideas to be able to distribute in a way where it's most needed. I'll be interested to see that with the newest infrastructure bill that comes through, if any, because a big chunk of the monies was with the water. And then that will be coming too. So I'll be interested to see if they shift any of their needs differently in this plan, so.
It certainly was a good blend. So, that being said, all those in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2021-216, this resolution is brought forward by Commissioner Krieger. This is opposition to Senate Bill 597, 598. I move this resolution.
Which we've already done.
We already did.
So we are good to go with that. We jumped the gun.
We're really passionate.
It's very important, yes.
We'll do it twice.
And, well, that would be all the business, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Now we will come to the county exec, Mr. Barsh.
I will be brief. I've done a lot of speaking already today. Mr. Chairman, I would just like to acknowledge the great work that Craig, Mark, and Gary do in the Department of Veterans Affairs. Found out last week that we have one veteran that filed a claim in 2015, and just last week, he was awarded $106,222 in some sense. So it's really important, the work that our Department of Veterans Affairs is doing in helping these veterans secure their benefits. It's very complicated, lengthy, and it takes, a diligent team to get that done. And the VA is running behind, so we expect that we'll have more veterans getting their benefits that they are owed, hopefully with the quality staff that we have in our Department of Veterans Affairs. Just wanted to mention that so that if you see them, let them know we appreciate them, what they're doing for our vets in Bay County.
Very good. Lots of good information today, Joe. That's it?
Yes. That's it.
Good job. Next is any unfinished business. Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week at Ways and Means, we referred to Corporation Council a request from the veterans for ARPA money to finish their building, which was about $250,000, and it was to have a contract fulfilled which satisfied Corporation Council. And I did speak with Amber a little earlier, and I think yourself and Keith have gotten together and fulfilled that. So I just want to hear from you that you're comfortable with that contract, or the information that he's provided to you.
Mr. Markstrom did provide information to me with regards to what the unfinished construction costs were on the building, and those, for the amount of money that the board determines at whatever point in time to grant, can be used toward those construction costs, so that can be included in the contract. As with the Boys and Girls Club, and I think that you may be taking this up under new business, with regard to the contracts that we're going to be drafting for all of the entities, we want to make sure that it is, I don't want to call it a form contract because I don't like that term, but we want it to be a consistent contract that the board is providing to all of the entities that we are going to be awarding money to. And the board is going to have to make some determination, and again, I believe this will be discussed under new business, as to what specific things that you want specific to ARPA included in that form contract. One of those things is the very specific reason that any entity that is requesting money is entitled to money under the guidelines as set forth in ARPA. I did speak with Mr. Markstrom, and he indicated to me that he would be submitting additional information to satisfy some of those requirements, because the prior submission that was given didn't indicate why the money was an acceptable use under ARPA. As the board knows, one of the acceptable uses is if you are a 501c3 and you were unable to fundraise during COVID, it negatively impacted your ability to raise money for your institution, that could be a qualifier under ARPA. That was not information that was submitted by the Veterans Foundation at the time they submitted the money. He did indicate to me that he would be resubmitting that additional information to the same email address that he submitted the proposal in order to satisfy that requirement. So I do not have a contract drafted for them. I know this was referred back to my office for me to put this back on the agenda after I had a contract drafted for the board to review. So we are actively working on that at this point.
So what you're saying is you want this to be put on another agenda?
That's what was voted on last week. It's not, that's what the board voted for.
That's right, but you and Keith have gotten together and fulfilled the the contract in order to go forward with this, because I don't believe you have a contract for the Boys and Girls Club yet. We're still working on that, correct?
We're still working on that,
Okay.
correct? We're still working on both of them.
So you have enough information there from the veterans to fulfill that request so that they have a shovel-ready project to finish that building. So we're able to go forward with this, and what you will do with the veterans, no different than what you're doing with the Boys and Girls Club. You're going to tie up the loose ends of that contract, and everything going forward will, however the board decides to address the rest of the money, the rest of the requests, we can do that at that time. But we've already heard from the Boys and Girls Club, we've heard from the veterans, 2 great projects. And, the veterans shovel-ready, all the permits. I say, if you're comfortable enough to fulfill that, then we can vote on that, get them their money, and then going forward, whatever folks or come and give us a presentation, and we look at the presentation to decide how we're going to do that, we can do that at that time.
Mr. Markstrom did indicate that he would get that information submitted, and it can be incorporated into a contract. Again, as I stated to you when we discussed this earlier, this is an issue of what got voted on at the prior board meeting. What got voted on the prior board meeting was to refer Boys and Girls Club to the full board for approval of $300,000, subject to a contract drafted by Corporation Counsel, which is why it is on the agenda today. As it relates to the Veterans Foundation, what was voted on at Ways and Means was a motion to refer this to Corporation Counsel to get with the Veterans Foundation, draft a contract, and then submit that back to the board upon the completion of the contract. So it was 2 different things that were voted on for a reference. I agree, I'm in the same spot as it relates to drafting those 2 contracts, but what was voted on by the board for these 2 entities at the last meeting was 2 different things. One was approving $300,000 to be voted on at the full board meeting. One was referring it back to Corporation Counsel to draft a contract and to bring it back. There was no approval of an amount or what it was going to be used for at the Ways and Means Committee meeting. That is my recollection of procedurally what happened at the last meeting. And again, I don't vote. That's just my recollection of what happened as a proceeding. So I can't tell you whether or not to treat these 2 the same or not. I can just tell you what got voted on at Ways and Means Committee last week.
All right, so basically both contracts are the same. They're not completed. Neither contract's completed.
No, and it was determined that the reason that Boys and Girls Club was coming up and it was voted differently was because it was an emergency need in order to get staffing immediately. I don't know whether or not it's ever been addressed that the Veterans Foundation request was an emergency need. I know that's why Boys and Girls Club was requested at the time that it was. I was not the one who had any, I didn't have anything to do with when the Veterans Council came to present. So I don't know that.
So we could make a motion to provide to the veterans the $250,000, and the completion of that contract with you and Keith will be done.
I think that what you voted on last week was to refer it back to me so I could bring it back to the board and you can vote on it at that point in time, which is why it's not on the agenda today. Again, this is a procedural issue. Your parliamentarian may be able to chime in here. This doesn't have anything to do with whether or not I can do the contract or can't do the contract. This is a procedural issue of whether or not it's on the board's agenda, because what you voted for last week wasn't an approval of the 250.
So we can bring forth a resolution, correct?
We have a
Pardon?
We have a resolution that was included on the Ways and Means Adjournment last week.
And we can we bring that forward today?
Bob? Kim's asking whether or not the resolution that was in Ways and Means.
Or we can make a resolution.
The law was approved by the board.
Yeah. So I'm making a motion to approve that resolution for $250,000 to the veterans so that they can get on with their project, which is shovel-ready, which all the permits are pulled, and they're able to finish that project. So I don't know why we would wait. It's a great project. and we've semantics with the contract. We don't have either contract ready yet. Both will be ready. So I'll make that motion.
So I need support. Support. Now discussion, Mr. Herrick.
Mr. Herrick, make a motion to refer because we have something else in front of us that we're supposed to, we have a set of guidelines to follow, and it's not ready yet. You know, she just said it's not ready, this whole thing about it. We got the shovels ready to go. So how much are screens? How much is cement? How much is anything? So if you do a building project at your home, you just don't tell the guy, I got 10 grand here, just use it how you want. You know, there's numbers.
Ask Corporation Counsel that. She's seen the numbers.
She's not ready though.
She's ready.
So we have a motion, we have support. Any other discussion?
Wait a minute, I need help because Tom just made a motion to refer. Does that trump Kim's motion right now?
Yes.
It does.
Okay, I'm going to support Tom's motion to refer. I am not comfortable, we don't have a plan. We don't have a plan for how we receive, how we decide. Currently, we're not treating people equally, and I think that's very important for everyone to feel like they're being heard and treated equally.
Okay. So there's a motion and support to continue to wait for Amber to come back with the information to the full board. Okay. All those in favor? Actually, let's do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Fox.
Yes to Tom Herrick, right? That motion?
Yes.
Yes to refer.
Commissioner Begic.
So we're now voting on the money, so I guess I can vote yes. I think we need to have a level playing field, and I feel more comfortable with most of some guidelines that are being drawn up, so I would move to refer.
Commissioner Coonan.
No.
Commissioner Herrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Radke.
Yes to refer.
Commissioner Johnson.
No.
Or yes, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Krieger.
I vote no.
So I have 3 noes and 4 yeses.
Okay, it's moved.
It's referred.
Any other unfinished business? Commissioner Begic.
I just want to mention I had a call today from somebody who's interested in presenting to us, and they want to know how much time they have, and they have engineers that have to draw up a plan, so I think I'd like to know that as soon as I can get back with them and let them know what we're
Like I said to
plans are.
Mr. Matejewski, you know, we put out plenty of notice. We had a time frame for individuals to request. If you want to get with me and give me name and number for me to call, I will do that.
Okay.
Okay? I will. Appreciate that. Anyone else under unfinished business? Moving on to new business, Commissioner Fox.
Yeah, I sent everyone a proposal earlier today, just outlining a process for receiving and awarding ARPA requests. I felt it very important to kind of categorize into 3 areas where we can treat all proposals equally, giving them the same level of attention. So the first area, briefly, for those presentations being made, some guidelines, parameters with which they need to address, from identifying the need or the negative impact, including the use of funds, a description, how our investment would address the need or the impact, the time frame for the money to be sent, and a plan to measure the impact. And then the other section was, as commissioners, giving us the opportunity to listen and ask questions without acting on the same night. And I think that's really important. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm a swirler and a noodler, and I just need time to process what I've heard. And I suspect other people do as well. And then it also came to light last week that we had no real parameters in place for drafting the contract and what should be in it. So I listed, after talking with Amber a little bit, the areas that need to be included or should be included in a draft contract. So I am moving this in hopes that we will support some type of framework or guidelines with which to receive and evaluate requests. So I would make a motion to adopt.
Support.
Discussion.
It looks, I haven't had an opportunity to read the entire thing. I was a little bit busy today when the email came in with it, but...
Fair enough.
But I like the ideas behind it, and trying to keep things the same as possible. Timeframes, performance measures, reporting frequency, annual presentations, those are all great ideas.
Commissioner Coonan.
I don't have a problem with it, but like Jamie, I haven't had a chance to read it either, so why don't we refer it to next week at your meeting, and gives us an opportunity to review it.
We will have a full board after personnel. So if you're making a motion to refer.
I did.
Okay.
Support.
Discussion, Mr. Herrick.
I just want to say, it's very well done. It's right in line with what the Bay Community Foundation does. Covers some of a lot of the basic things they do. So it's a great framework for this type of money that we'll have once in our generation. It'll never, we'll never see this again. But I think this will be a great document by the time we're done with it. When we finish giving out money, this is the document you want to use. Thanks, Marie.
Very good. Any other discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else under new business? Anything under miscellaneous? Under announcements? Anything?
Nothing.
No activities?
Merry Christmas.
All right. Under appointments in November, we have one 6-year term expiring with Mr. Phillips for the Building Authority. In December, we've already taken care of the election with Vaughn and Troy Stewart. And then we also took care of the issue with the Department of Aging Advisory Committee. Ms. Johnson, is there a need for a closed session?
Mr. Chair, I am so happy to tell you that no, there is not.
Very good. And that, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, was there something you wanted to say?
I would move that we adjourn.
Support. All those in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.